to shift a little bit to this crazy fucker on Fox, on the Fox sewer. I would not watch Fox if somebody put a saber to my throat. I couldn't do it because I've spent enough time watching that back in the day, and I see clips all the time, thanks to MSNBC. I see clips of these sewer dwellers who are supposed to be hosts or newscasters. You have this guy at the Fox sewer named Jesse Waters, who is at the bottom of the bottom, just such an asshole. But he took some time this past week to offer up a twisted, psychotic criticism of Governor Tim Walz. And this is what came out of this filthy Jesse Waters' mouth. He said, quote, "Women love masculinity and women do not love Tim Walz. So that should just tell you about how masculine Tim Walz is." End quote. Now, in the first place, why would Jesse Waters take that particular tack with Tim Walz? It's been my experience from paying attention to this shit, really paying attention to it because I've had to over the years, that what Jesse Waters was doing right there is making a play for Tim Walz. Now, seriously, Jesse Waters was exposing himself as wanting to have sex with Tim Walz. You don't agree? Let's see what happens to Jesse Waters over the next few weeks. But that's what he did. He made a overt, flirtatious pitch, and he used women to do it. Women love masculinity, and women do not love Tim Walz. So that just should tell you about how masculine Tim Walz is. Waters is he's so obvious. I guess of course he doesn't understand it. Now, when he says that bullshit, brand new polling shows that women prefer Walz to the Orange Bastard's running mate, his pet ape, and his meme generator, J.D. Vance, and virtually every poll shows that women would choose Kamala Harris to convicted felon Donald Trump, making, as Daily Kos put it, that makes this an odd way for the very creepy Jesse Waters to begin things. But as Daily Kos points out, it gets stranger. Waters continued by saying this: "The other day you saw him with a vanilla ice cream shake. Had a straw in it. Oh, again, that tells you everything." End quote. What? Jesus Christ. Talk about something extremely weird to fixate your concept of masculinity on, whether or not Tim Walz uses a straw to drink a milkshake. But again, Jesse Waters is revealing what he really wants. He wants to get naked with Tim Walz. For some reason, now I don't particularly find Tim Walz attractive in that way. I mean, there are a lot of men that I do find very sexually attractive. Not that I would ever want to have sex with them, but I can understand their sexual appeal. Governor Walz just doesn't, I'm sorry. No, not really. He's more like, as he's been promoted out and about, as the grandfatherly type. Somebody you'd love to have help you fix the engine to your 1957 Ford Fairlane, right? I mean, that's Governor Walz, and I think he'll make a great vice president. But as far as I know, the only one to make these sexual allusions to Tim Walz has been Jesse Waters. And I just wonder if Jesse is not, well, of course he's not aware. I don't think he's aware. Maybe he is. Maybe this is an overt play for Tim Walz. I don't think so. I think what Jesse is doing is tossing out a couple of, pardon the expression, feelers there to see if he gets a reaction from Walz. Oh, my God. Now, as bizarre as all this shit is from Jesse Waters aimed at Tim Walz, it isn't the first time that, how does Daily Kos puts it, they call him Fox's highly manicured host. This is not the first time Jesse Waters has promoted this kind of weird view of masculinity. In November 2023, according to the Coast, the man who bragged of deflating his future wife's tires in order to force her to take a ride with him, that would be Jesse Waters. He attacked Joe Biden for a similar food-consuming rule violation or something. This is what he said about Biden, quote, "Now, if you've seen me on The Five or on prime time, you know I recommend that all men refrain from using straws. It's unbecoming the way a man's lips purse. The size of the straw is just too dainty. The way your fingers clasp on it. No, come on. Straws are for women and little kids." Oh, and the focus of that bullshit was Joe Biden, who happened to use a straw. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I mean, the Fox sewer is like a goddamn asylum. I mean, really, it's like a rubber bungalow where the only way, it's like Hotel California. You can never leave. You can check out, but you can never leave. You're stuck there. Even if you do walk out the front door, part of you stays there forever because it's such a goddamn loony bin. Now, a lot of people responded to this, according to Coase, responded to this bullshit from Jesse Waters about Governor Walz by pointing out that Trump also uses straws for his little teeny mouth. It's little and teeny unless he puts that little suck look on his face, Trump, where you've seen the pictures. It looks like he's either blowing or inhaling something, and it's usually when he's screaming at somebody. But context matters, right? Back when Waters was working out his same insecurities on Biden, a lot of people noted that Waters was full of hypocrisy. But the desperation is palpable these days in the Fox sewer. It really is. Some might say they're grasping at straws. That's a direct quote from Daily Kos. Oh, my God, I love that website, Daily Kos. So this attack by men using straws is weird. It reveals an awful lot, as far as I'm concerned, about Jesse Waters. But it is less creepy than his statements, his misogynistic bullshit about Kamala Harris. So, somebody, though, seriously, maybe a real man like Sean Hannity should point all this out to Jesse Waters. Maybe Sean should just say to him, hey, listen, dude, you're really revealing yourself here. Some of your, how do I put this? Some of maybe your subconscious tendencies. You ought to stop talking about Governor Walz and how he sucks on a straw. I mean, of course, now that might be asking too much of Sean Hannity. But the craziness that is just rampant in the Fox sewer, and it never, ever takes a break. You can tune into the Fox sewer if you're so inclined any moment of any day, 24/7, 365. And if you can stand to sit there just for, I don't know, a minute, or 2 or 5, whatever your tolerance will allow you to do. And listen and watch. Especially, what is that group? I've seen a little bit of clips from something called The Five. What the fuck is The Five? From what I've seen, it's 5 people, 2 or 3 of which look like they just came off of fucking 42nd Street in Midtown Manhattan. I mean, they really look strange. And they're sitting there in a, I don't know, in some kind of a half-circle, semicircle setting, and they're talking about just the weirdest bullshit that you can imagine. And they seem to be taking themselves very, very, very seriously. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.